Hey there, industry, and welcome to Season 2 of GovCon Growth Bites, your source for expert advice and key strategies to grow your business one bite at a time. I'm your host, Maggie Bennett, and back again is Robert Turner, CEO of R. Turner Solutions, discussing one of our favorite topics for this season, OASIS Plus. Listen to our last episode to hear the gist of what is OASIS Plus and is it for me. And today we're discussing some hurdles to look out for. So you've decided this is great, this is for me, I want a piece of the action, but also it's going to be some challenges. So Robert is the founder and president of R. Turner Solutions, providing business development support to GovCon firms for 10 years. He is back to discuss all things OASIS Plus. Thank you for chatting with us.
Hey, this is going to be fun, Maggie. I'm looking forward to this. We spent a lot of time thinking about it, and hope folks get some ideas and value out of our discussion.
Absolutely. I think it's really important when you're going into something and you really want to take a good shot at it, but you don't even know what to expect. You don't know what sort of, if you don't know what kind of battle you're going into, you don't know how to suit up for it. You don't know what armor you need. You don't know what prep you need to do. So you prepare for a marathon really differently than you prepare to lift a bunch of weights. So what kind of complexity are we looking at? What is this going to be like?
I think complexity is one of the best terms that we can use to describe these scoring-based, large, multiple award IDIQ proposals, especially the ones that come out of GSA. They are complex. They're not hard to understand. They're not complicated, but they are complex. They have just a lot of moving parts. As a matter of fact, Maggie, I was remembering what we were doing on Polaris, and you counted once all the files that we were organizing and managing for a typical Polaris proposal, and we did dozens of these. How many files were we managing on a per client basis?
Oh, it was wild. Exactly to your point, it wasn't extremely challenging and difficult and arduous, but the complexity and the number of documents we were tracking was absolutely insane. I think our compliance matrix ended up being like 180 lines long. We were tracking 100 to 150 of documents for the easy clients, the common, typical, no strange partnerships, no interesting JV surplus documents. Just the most basic ones that we were doing were upwards of 100 plus documents each.
Right, and so that could definitely be what we're looking at for OASIS Plus. You've got 5 qualifying projects. Each one of those, you need the contract award form. You probably need the statement of work. You're going to need a current FPDS report. You're going to need a CPARS report or a past performance survey or questionnaire. And so then you multiply that by 5. That could be 20, 30, 40 documents. And then think about the number of pages and the number of highlights and the number of pieces that you're managing. Are you managing all that stuff properly? You've got your federal experience projects. You've got your systems and certification pieces. There's just a lot of pieces to this, which is just something that you want to be aware of going in. So that what that really demands is that you have the right resources, the right tools, you're prepared for it, and that none of that takes you by surprise.
So from a strategy perspective, with all these documents moving around, what kind of leadership and management is this going to take?
Yeah, one of the things I think that is a real hallmark of successful firms that submit these things in a way that does not overburden their own organization, as well as submits the best proposal, is that you divide and conquer among your team, whether you're doing everything internally or you're engaging third-party firms, like ours or others. You have, your leadership, your C-level leadership is really thinking about the strategy, dealing with the teams, making sure that you're pulling the right information, the best projects out of your own portfolio, and that you're making the best teaming relationships that you can. They're looking at a strategy level, as well as reviewing the documents that come back and making sure that they really are hitting all the compliance checks. Then you've got other folks who are involved in the assembly of the material, doing all the Adobe highlights, organizing these things, making sure that we're dealing with the most recent copies of the documents, etc. And then you're gonna need a very, very strong proposal manager, someone with the right level of experience managing a large quantity of documents, managing a number of different volumes, and someone who has fabulous organization skills and who can build the kind of tools that you need to successfully manage a large effort like OASIS Plus.
Sounds like there's multiple levels going on there where you need people to look at all kinds of different perspectives. If you haven't really done a GWAC before, can you set that up in comparison to sort of a more simple proposal that you would have sent out if this is someone's first major IDIQ?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got, your most basic GSA schedule task order, might have even a 10, 20 page technical volume and a pricing spreadsheet and maybe a small document with your pricing narrative and assumptions. That's kind of at the most basic level. If you're submitting a large single award proposal, you might have multiple volumes, but even then, the number of distinct pieces that you're managing might only be 4, 5, 6 at the most. And so you can keep track of those. It's not as complex. In something like Polaris, you had mentioned up to 100 individual documents. OASIS Plus, I don't know that we've counted yet, but it's at that level. It'll be 70, 80 different documents. You might merge them together, but you've got a lot of moving pieces. So you want to make sure you have a good, strong naming convention. You want to make sure that you're organized, that you've got tracking sheets that help you stay not only organized in terms of the status of the documents, but also in terms of the action items you've given people. Where are you on your timelines? You never want to get behind on something like this. If you get behind, then playing catch up with such a large number of actions, especially if you have multiple people involved, you've got teammates, you've got executive reviews. Yeah, right. I mean, you're getting all tense in your belly because this thing's just the stress level can just keep you up at night, right? So,
yeah.
And again, it's not something, I always say too, as a consulting leader, we don't always do things that nobody else can do. We're just very good at it, and so we do it on a regular basis, and so we know what we're doing. So we're not as intimidated by it, and we've got experience at it. If you only do these things once every now and again, just the newness of it, all the the volume, the scale, the complexity, all these things can just make life more interesting.
Absolutely. I remember the first couple of times any client would do a large project, and then even if they've done a couple in a year, compare that to the R. Turner team where they've probably done 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 per IDIQ opportunity. And then how many of those we get? A couple, 1 or 2 a year. So some of the members on our team are on their 80th to 100 to 120 different ones of these. And it's not that we're doing it anymore, specially. We don't have any sort of fairy dust or magic, but this is our area of expertise, just like the cybersecurity clients, like their area of expertise is cybersecurity, but maybe not proposal writing, or that's especially right. This scale of kind of a proposal.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. And the other thing that I think really sometimes catches people off guard is the amount of detail that agencies like GSA are asking for in the midst of these proposals. It goes beyond, in some cases, the standard past performance corporate experience write-ups that we're used to doing. The level of detail, the number of times they're asking for the same thing over and over again, it can just be a lot, and it's something that everybody needs to be aware of as you're preparing for this. Don't think that you can just carve out 20 hours over the course of a month and pull OASIS Plus together. It'll take a lot of effort if you're organizing your own team.
So kind of in that same vein, do you have your head around what kind of time and resources this monster will take? Everything from, hours in a week to people to management tools. What kind of investment is this looking like?
Yeah, it's, I don't know that I could put a firm number on it. only to say that you really do want to diversify the work across a number of people so that you get the right kind of output. On our side, in the midst of our turnkey approach, if we're doing the complete proposal for a client, we've got a senior proposal manager who's managing the primary tasks, action items, and compliance issues. We've got a proposal manager coordinator who is organizing the work that needs to be done. We've got proposal writers who are tagging and assembling documents. And then we've got different people who are doing the compliance reviews. So already we've got 4 teams of people, times 2 or 3 in some cases, working over the course of a couple of weeks to pull a proposal together, with a third week to make sure that we do a good solid review, and then we do a production run, and then we look at everything again before we do a submission. So it's a large, major effort. To say that it would take 100 hours or more to pull a proposal together is not overstating the fact.
It's quite a number. So aside from, just scaling and figuring out the size of your team and how many people you can dedicate to the different levels of either managing it or writing it or reviewing it, and honestly, you need multiple levels of review because one set of eyeballs is not enough for this kind of compliance review. Aside from that kind of time and resource dedication, what are some of the solutions to these hurdles? How are we going to prep even before the final RFP drops? Are there some things that we can either do or plan to do in order to overcome some of this?
Yeah, so we've got teams actively engaged with clients now, and some of the work we're doing is getting organized and putting our hands on, or our eyeballs on, the specific content that we know that we need to highlight, tag, organize as part of the proposal. So one of the things, if you're planning on bidding OASIS Plus, the 2 things that you really want to get organized right now are your 5 qualifying projects and your 4 non-relevant or federal experience projects. And we won't talk about what that means right now. It's kind of out of scope of our current conversation, but you really want to get all that stuff done so that by the time the final RFP hits, we can react to any adjustments, but we already kind of have the basic framework of the proposal already organized. And then that'll just really make the assembly and make the development of the entire package, that much easier. If you start OASIS Plus and you haven't even looked at your contract portfolio, you don't know what 5 relevant projects you're going to use, and you don't know what 4 non-relevant projects you're going to use, even if those overlap. If you haven't done that, that'll set you back a week or 2. And it just, you're just forcing more work into the latter half of the month, or into the last 4 weeks that, you could kind of get a jump on. And, I think the other challenge with these big IDIQs, and one of the reasons that clients really choose to outsource a portion or all of the work, and I'm not, selling our services because we're going to be as busy as we can be. The real reason that it makes sense to think about outsourcing this is that these things can take just a lot of internal energy out of your firm that you could redirect toward revenue generating activities. Responding to task orders on a schedule or IDIQ, bidding single award RFPs that could be evaluated over the next 3-4 months and turn into revenue by the end of the year, working on contract upgrades or surge support or hiring people, or there's a number of things that clients choose to do other than write IDIQs that aren't going to get evaluated and awarded until next year. The monetization of your effort for OASIS Plus is a ways down the road. And our clients kind of, every one of them would say that the reason they come and they outsource that work to us or to anybody else, frankly, is so that they can focus on revenue activity that is immediate rather than in the future.
That's a really good point. I think income producing activity is what all of our bosses wish we were doing. I think there's also, you mentioned earlier in our conversation before this recording about for folks who either, for whatever reason are not interested in a turnkey, or let's say they really want some of our Turner support, but we've maxed out the number of clients we're taking for this proposal project because there's so much demand for it. Are there other ways we can help them? I know there's some templates that we're going to be coming out with, some compliance matrices to kind of kickstart their effort. What are some of those going to look like?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next draft, to the next issue or iteration of the draft RFP. I think that'll be really interesting. And then I'm hoping out of that, we're going to have a number of products that we can offer people to help. So one of the things I would really encourage everyone to do who's thinking about bidding OASIS, even if you're not going to come to someone and do a turnkey outsource and ask somebody to do the whole thing for you, really, one of the most valuable tasks that you can engage third parties with is compliance review. I was talking to a colleague, and she's been in this business a long time too, and she was commenting to me about how many of the client proposals that she reviewed for CIO-SP4 and Polaris were non-compliant in significant ways. And these proposals were done by professionals who do this work all the time, but they just miss things, mostly because of all the issues we've already talked about. And they were glad that they had engaged her on a compliance review because she was able to catch things that they missed. So engage third parties on compliance reviews. They haven't been involved typically in developing your proposal. They're not staff members of your firm, so they have no internal loyalty. So they can call things really as they are. Kind of point out where something's got major flaws or warts or whatever. They're not scared to do that. That's what they get paid for. And then the other thing is look to buy resources that can accelerate the development of your prop. I think we'll have certainly an updated compliance matrix. We'll have our proposal tracker that we use internally, and we might have one or two videos to help people think through how you develop and organize your proposal. Those are just a few of the things that we'll have available, as well as some helps for folks to get points on greenhouse gas and a number of the other pieces of this very large effort.
Right on. Well, I think speaking of income-producing activities, we should probably get back to it, but it's been fun chatting. If somebody would like to connect with you, maybe get into our turnkey effort before the door closes, look into some templates, or just discuss if OASIS is good for them, right for them, what they can be doing now, get your opinion on some stuff, where can the listener find you?
Yeah, so actually just not too long ago, after we finished the most previous podcast recording, we released a brand new version of our website.
Woohoo.
So if they haven't seen our new website, go check out ourturner.net. We've integrated both our public site as well as our e-commerce store. Now we're all on one platform, and so we've got all of our public content pages as well as ways for folks to purchase templates, subscriptions, various things, all integrated into one web property. There's a subscription box at the bottom of the homepage that you can go ahead and sign up for, and then you'll be part of our newsletter subscription and some other regular communications that we send out. There's an email address on the site, info@ourturner.net. There's a phone number up there. Love to connect with folks and talk about OASIS Plus or any of the other things we're doing. We're really working hard on bringing innovative growth solutions to the marketplace. That's what we're all about. And we've got a lot of great, exciting things in the lab that are due to come out this year.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, Robert. Talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Maggie. Had a great time.
Thanks. Bye.